Today we are painting this Z in this garage for under $200 without using an air compressor. And with any luck, it's gonna turn out great. Let's get into it. You heard me right, we are finally painting the cheap budget-built 350Z. We're doing it in a garage, and we're doing it with an electric spray gun, which is something I have zero experience with. And I'm really curious if it's gonna work well, because if it does, it eliminates the need for a big air compressor, water traps, air regulators, air hoses, and a whole bunch of other stuff that not everybody has in their garage. So let's unbox that paint gun and see what I'm getting myself into here. Now I know we kind of skipped some steps. The prep work is already done. If you've been following me for a long time, you know I am no stranger to prepping cars for paint or wrap or anything else like that. I did the same with my C/Z. Although it was wrapped, the prep work is really similar. So I didn't feel like making a whole nother video about the same topic. If you guys want some more information on how to prep your car for paint or wrap, I'll put that video up here. But as you can see, this thing's just about ready to go. I've got a little bit more masking to do, which I'm not gonna bore you with, but let's take a look at this paint gun. This is the Haichika, not sure how to say the name, but it's a paint sprayer, EP013, whatever that means. And this is the crazy part. It is electric. We will plug this thing in and hopefully use it just like a normal paint gun. Just slapped it together, and at a quick glance, it's got some pretty cool features. You can see here, we can adjust how much paint is gonna come out of this nozzle with that little adjuster right there. This adjuster will adjust how deep this trigger goes, ultimately how much paint will come out every time you hit the trigger. And it goes together really easy, comes apart pretty easy, so it should be simple to clean. And I don't know much else about it. If you're wondering why I'm doing this in the first place and not just using a normal paint gun, which I have plenty of experience doing, it's because I was curious if this is a viable option. I've seen people do it. I've seen people use this exact paint gun and paint cars and have them turn out great. And I thought that could really change how easy it is to do a DIY paint job in your garage, because again, you don't need a huge air compressor. That's something I never had. And when I did DIY paint jobs, I was always borrowing an air compressor or using my really small 5-gallon air compressor and just waiting for it to refill every couple of minutes. So I'm gonna read the instructions on this thing, try to figure it out, and but I still gotta finish masking. And then we'll start mixing up some paint and maybe just do some test sprays. I'm hoping I could just kind of figure it out, get the settings right, and start painting, but there's only one way to find out. Okay, but first, let's finish masking. There we go. Let's mix up some paint. For paint, we went with Eastwood. This is their single stage. This is the paint. This is the activator, and we're just doing a GM Fleet White, super simple, easy color. And because it's single stage, it means we don't need to worry about clear coat. We don't need to worry about mixing a bunch of different things. We can just mix that up, spray it, and be done. It'll be durable. It should be pretty shiny, and it should look pretty good as long as we can figure out this paint gun. Also, it's worth mentioning that paint, a full gallon of white paint, was $189 on Eastwood. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna paint this whole car for less than 200 bucks. I'm gonna have paint left over because a gallon is more than enough to do a 2-seater, especially since I'm not doing the roof or the hood. And I think that's a bargain, as long as it turns out good. So let's mix it up, start spraying it, and see what happens. Before we mix the paint, we've gotta prep this car, prep the garage, get everything ready. Let's talk about it. This is an absolute must-do if you are painting in a garage. Start with a leaf blower, blow out all the loose dust. Once you're done with that, hose down the floor, hose down the walls. The moisture on the ground is going to help keep dust on the ground and out of your paint. So we've got our paint booth prepped with the water down. Next is to prep the actual car. Now this is a poor man's trick, using ammonia-free glass cleaner. It is way cheaper than the official prep spray that you get at like auto body shops. That stuff is like $10 or $15 a can. I've had really good luck with a glass cleaner, as long as it's that brand, or there's one other brand that looks almost the same, and ammonia free. I will say, take your time, do small areas at a time, throw your paper towels away very often. Don't try to continue using the same greasy, dirty paper towel. Just take your time, clean it well, whether you're using the legit stuff or cheap glass cleaner. This is the last step, and it is super important. If you miss a little nook or cranny and you leave some dirt somewhere, the paint is not gonna stick to it. So take your time, clean it well. That's what I'm gonna do now. And then we'll mix up some paint. Little trick when it comes to mixing your paint. Ignore the mess I made. But this paint just happens to be 3 parts paint to 1 part reducer, activator, whatever you wanna call it. So I did the math once. I marked it on my mixing cup. So this is where I'm gonna pour the paint to. This is where I'm gonna pour the activator to. Now I marked it because I know painting this car is gonna take more than just one little mixing cup, right? So I marked it. Now every time I need a refill, I can just come pour it to here, mix it, toss it in the gun, call it a day. The less thinking you have to do during this whole process, the easier it's gonna be. So if you can do yourself little favors like that, it's gonna make it a whole lot easier. Now let's mix this up, throw it in the gun, and see if that thing's even gonna work. All right, hopefully you guys can hear me. I have a mask on. Always wear something. This is not really the right one to wear, but it's all I had. So we're gonna make it happen. So I'm gonna do a test spray on this piece of plastic here just to try to get an idea of what the spray pattern is gonna look like. I really don't know what to expect here, but I at least know what I'm looking for, and hopefully I can figure out with all these adjustments exactly how to get there. So let's see what happens. Okay, so the nozzle's pointed the wrong way. Go ahead and flip that. That's my mistake. I didn't even look at it. Obviously, it's spraying out this way, right? We want it up and down. It makes it a lot easier to do our passes. But aside from that, it looked okay. I'm definitely too far away. You can kind of tell by how like splattered it is. So I'm gonna have to get a bit closer. I'm pretty happy with that. I think we're just gonna send it and see what happens. Maybe I'll start on some low risk areas like the jambs for the trunk and the doors. Since if I mess those up, it's not really a big deal. I mean, really, this is a cheap budget car anyways. I didn't have to do the jams. I just figured it would look a little better. So let's give it a shot, see what happens. Okay, first little test rip. It's definitely shooting dry. I think I'm just a little too far away. Yeah, so I'll get a little closer and do this jam here. Let me bring you guys over here. So up on top, gosh, the lighting in here is awful. You can see it's just kind of dry and speckled because I was holding it a little too far away. I was also moving kind of fast. So I slowed down, brought it a little closer, and that's laying on great. And we're in a jam that I didn't prep super good. So I think we're off to a really good start. I'm gonna throw you guys on a time lapse and just start blasting this thing out. And I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay, first impressions, this thing paints really good. It paints really fast. It puts a lot of material on your panel, which ends up being a problem I run into a bit later. It is really easy to have the paint run because of just how much paint is coming out of this thing. Now, I really should have adjusted my settings earlier on because you can't adjust how much paint comes out. And I kind of figured that out as I go along.
Okay, first coat is done. I'm hiding in the laundry room just to get out of some of the smells. It takes like 8 to 10 minutes for one coat to flash off before you can recoat it. I know you heard my first impressions on the voiceover there, but it takes some getting used to. I wish I had done some like real test panels and not just a little spray here, a little spray there. The amount of paint that comes out is way different than you would get out of air pneumatic gun. And I was able to adjust that about halfway through the car, but I got some decent runs on one fender because I was trying to cover up some body work and I ended up going over the same spot a little more than like a 50% overlap, which is about what you want. I was more like 80%. So the paint ran a little bit. It's hard to see how much is coming out. And because you're putting white on top of white, it's like, whatever. Anyways, I can't believe how good that gun is laying down considering how little I did to it. Like I didn't do any setup. I just plugged it in, mixed the paint, called it a day. And the paint too is laying down really nice. Aside from the little run that I had on the fender, I'm pretty stoked on it so far. I think a second coat will do really good. I probably should have done a lot lighter first coat, but again, live and learn. I think it's going pretty well. And the car is definitely gonna be white when we're done. It's the next day. Let's open the garage and see what we've got. Crossing my fingers, this thing dried and looks all right. The car is definitely white. There are a few mistakes I made, some worse than others, but let's just get this unwrapped. I got to get it out of the garage on a trailer so I can start bringing in the doors, trunk, and all that stuff. So Let's get this thing back home and then I'll show you guys some of the mistakes I made and how we can avoid them. Definitely not perfect. Like I said, I'll explain some of the flaws when we get back home, but it's shiny. It's shiny, it's white. Roof still looks good. Could be worse. We're back home. The car is mostly together, minus the hatch and a few other little details. But now we can get a good look at the end result. So let's talk about what went well and what I learned. The number one mistake I would say I made with this project was not taking enough time and not testing out the new spray gun, not testing this paint that I've never used before. I really should have done a test panel like an old junk fender, a dented up door, something just to practice on, to figure out the spray pattern of the gun, to figure out how much paint actually comes out, to figure out what those adjustments do. Because really, I figured all that out on the car, which meant I was making a mistake, I'd make an adjustment, and then I'd try again. And unfortunately, a lot of those mistakes showed up in the paint job. So let me show you those first, then we'll talk about how you can avoid those, and then I'll show you some of the good parts, because this whole thing wasn't a mistake. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I just want to show you guys the highs and the lows when it comes to painting a car at home in the garage. I do have to say I'm really impressed with how shiny and how flat this paint laid down. I mean, it looks great for super cheap single stage. Now the issues came with those adjustments I was talking about, and it was really easy to shoot too much paint, as you can see with this run. Now I painted this door flat on the table. You guys saw me paint the car with no doors, so we got the jams and everything. And I'm really happy with how all that turned out. The side skirts turned out amazing. Our fiberglass repairs actually look really good. But we got a run on the door. We got a run on this fender here. You can see there's a bit of orange peel up at the top. If we come on this side, this fender turned out better. There is a little bit of a dry spot up at the top. You can see it's a little more textured up here versus down here. This door turned out great. I mean, look at that. That is fantastic. This door and this side skirt, really happy with that. Quarter panel looks really good until we see another paint run there. Now, what causes paint runs is pretty obvious. It's just putting too much paint on a panel. This door actually looked perfect when I sprayed it, walked away to let the paint dry, came back, saw that. And again, that really comes down to me not testing that gun out, not realizing just how much paint is coming out, not realizing how big of a spray pattern it had, and all of that can be adjusted. I just didn't take the time to dial it all in. I made a few little tweaks. I thought I had it figured out about halfway through painting the car, and then I cleaned the gun, so I undid all my settings because I took the gun apart and kind of put it back to default settings. So when I came in the second day to paint the door and the side skirts, I didn't realize that I didn't have my settings the way I wanted them, which led to the run on the first door that I painted. So again, nobody's fault but my own. That's just me rushing through things because we've got a deadline. I've got to get this car done, blah, 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 whatever. Should have just taken a bit more time. When it comes to the dry spots, those are caused by, well, not enough paint on the panel. That part's obvious, but really it's the angle of the gun, where you're putting it. And I was focusing a little too much on a few spots, especially on these fenders. There was some body work that didn't look great. So I tried to double up paint in those areas, and it left me neglecting some of the edges. Like on this fender that I showed you, the dry spots up on the top, it's because I was painting the panel like this. If you can imagine, this is the fender. I'm painting it like this, and I didn't go up over the top to get a nice wet coat on the top and then the side. I just did the side, and the top kind of got dusted with that paint, which left us with a little bit of a texture, a little bit orange peel, but it's not that bad. Now, ultimately, both of those issues can be fixed. You can sand out the runs in the paint using 1,000, 1,500 grit, probably up to 2,000. And then from there, you can polish the paint. That would get rid of most of the runs. As far as the dry spots, you can usually tackle it the same way. But if that orange peel and texture is all the way down on the first coat, the likelihood of it coming out entirely with a sand and polish is kind of low. I could definitely make it look better. Would it look perfect? Probably not. Am I going to do that I haven't quite decided, because this car is going to get a pretty obnoxious livery, if I'm being honest, and I think it's going to cover up most of the issues. So I might wait till I get that, mock it up, and see if it covers up some of it. I won't touch it. If there are some that are really obvious, I may try to fix them. At the end of the day, this is a budget-built car. This was $190 worth of paint, an experimental paint gun, and me in my garage doing this alone. Is it perfect? No, but it was never meant to be perfect. It was supposed to look way better than it did before, and I think we absolutely nailed that. It is all one color. Technically, it's two colors. It's white and black, but it's shiny. It's smoother than it was, and I am really happy with it. Considering the amount of time and the amount of money I put into it, I'm stoked. I think it looks great. And most importantly, it's gonna look good in pictures and videos, and it's gonna look the absolute best flying into turn one at Apple Valley, hopefully not into the tire wall. But even that, it's a drift car. So if it does go flying into the tire wall, or one of my buddies does cave the door in, super cheap paint, super easy to touch up. That's why I went with a really basic color. And ultimately, that's what's important for a drift car. This wasn't gonna be a show car. And I think compared to a lot of the cars that I see out at my local events, this looks pretty good. But you guys let me know what you think. For sub $200, would you be happy with this? If you wanna get some paint, I'm not sponsored at all by Eastwood, but I'll put the link down below because I am so impressed with how good this paint is for how cheap it is, that it is the way to go if you are painting a budget car, drift car, track car, anything like that. Same goes for the paint gun. It's definitely a learning curve, but I think it's a game changer because it puts a lot of paint on a panel really fast, and you can knock out a whole car in record time as long as you pay attention to how much paint is actually going on the panel. I think it's an awesome way to paint a car. You don't need an air compressor, an air hose, regulator, anything like that. Plug it in, mix your paint up, and go to town. Sorry we couldn't get the full finished look here. I still have to do the hatch and a couple of other little things, and we're still waiting on the wheels and of course the livery. But that'll be in the next video. I will see you guys then. Thanks as always for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.